Welcome to Infocard.cc's podcast. We hope you enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Infocard Internet Marketing with Peter Brusso. I'm Will, your co-host, and I want to bring on Peter right now. Peter, you there?
Yeah, Will, I'm here. How's everything going?
Not bad, not bad. What's the weather like? Nice and hot? Or?
Oh, it's another beautiful day out here, a little warmer than it was yesterday, but we're getting closer to that absolutely gorgeous time in the desert, you know?
The Salton Sea paradise, right?
Absolutely. And, of course, you know, on the Internet, the weather never changes. It's always good.
Right, exactly. You know? Nothing much changes on the net. Very good.
Well, Will, let's talk about this. You know, one of the things that we want to kind of go do is do Internet reviews, kind of like the Sisker and Ebert type of thing. And in our conversation, we came up with, gee, let's go do one. And I said, well, wait a second. You know, let's look at Jiffy Wagon a minute. And I didn't necessarily want to beat up the site because I made it, but I'm always open for great opinions and stuff like that. So why don't we navigate over to Jiffy Wagon for a second? Let me discuss that, okay?
Yeah, you had mentioned Jiffy Wagon. It sounds like such a great idea, and I remember you sending me the link. And yeah, so I'm on the page right now.
So I'm sure we've done our homework on this. And when I first met Jon, the CEO, he came in. I was doing websites through a small company at the time, and they came in. He came in with a long story of not being able to get a site done, and I rolled up my sleeves, and I didn't have many on then. I was warm out here, and I went right to work. 2 days later, we had a straw man up and been filling it out ever since. But one of the things I really love about this business, and it was like one of those duh moments, when he started to explain what Jiffy Wagon was, about somebody would come pick up your stuff for you, deliver it to you, transport stuff around if you had stuff, haul junk away even, assembly, installation, geez. It's kind of like an uncle that you never had. You know, when you're young and the uncle's got an old wagon or a station wagon or a truck or something, and you want to buy a treadmill, you know, you call a family, and everybody gets together and drags the thing, schleps it home, and maybe depending upon how much beer they drink, your treadmill actually goes the right direction.
Right.
But I just think of, I mean, even in New York, or you're just outside New York City. I mean, isn't this the greatest idea you've ever seen?
No, it's absolutely incredible, Peter, because just even on the example you're referring, treadmills, exercise equipment. I mean, literally, there have been times in my life where I said, yeah, I could buy that, but well, how am I going to get it home? How am I going to get it installed or assembled? Yeah, it's something that kind of prevents you sometimes from maybe even buying something. Yeah, I've been there. It's incredible. Incredible
exactly.
idea.
And if you're on the front page, you can take a look that he just got his vans, what they call wrapped.
Okay. Right. See that? Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous what he's got going here. Mm-hmm. I think that the on the site, by the way, what was your first knee jerk on the site?
Well, I'm sorry. What was that?
What was your first knee jerk on the site? Did you like the site?
Yeah, and I think we were discussing before your of course sort of theory of that clean, clear, delivery and presentation. And I don't think a better example really could be than the Jiffy Wagon site. You've got all the sort of the colors and the logos merging together, and everything is clear and clean, but yet it looks good. It's attractive too, besides being clear.
And I can't take all the credit for this either, because Jon, the CEO. I get him close, right? And then he'd fly back seat with me. Matter of fact, he and I are both pilots, and so flying back seat is he was the navigator and I was the pilot.
Right.
And we essentially went back and forth and built this site in an iterative process, which a lot of web people will never do.
Right, and I love just looking at the main splash, and I love how you and Jon, you sort of divide it up into pickup, delivery, transport, junk haul away, product assembly, product installation, pretty much everything, and more, and you get to go right to that feature.
Well, we're fortunate enough to have Jon in the wings here. Why don't we bring him on? I'd like to hear the history of this and where he's going to take it.
Jon, right? You there?
Yeah, I am. Hi, guys. How are you?
How you doing?
Hey, Jon. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, Jon, Could you tell me, I've got a bunch of questions to ask you, but basically, first off, when you came in and explained to me what it was you did, and I had that duh moment, how did you end up inventing this thing?
Well, I tell you guys, the way I came up with Jiffy Wagon, the concept, it's almost like a concierge-type service, a concierge that gets their hands dirty.
Right.
People refer, people think of, what about, who do I get to haul stuff for me, or, if I want something put together, or I buy a washing machine at Costco, how am I going to get it home? How am I going to install it?
Right.
And I've always been a handy guy, in the past. I've always had trucks and trailers, but the concept came to me one day when, my wife said, hey, woke up on a Saturday morning and said, go down to Costco and buy, let's get some sod. Let's get some sod and put it out behind that. I'm going to have some friends over tomorrow. Put 20 square feet of sod back there. And I said, I don't mind laying the sod down, but I don't want to go to Home Depot and have to lug all that stuff. I'm going to have to go get the trailer out of the storage yard. And it kind of occurred to me, that would be great. And granted, the home improvement warehouses, they usually deliver, but it's next Tuesday. I don't want it next Tuesday. I want it right now. So when I came up with the Jiffy Wagon concept, I thought about it, and I said, God, so many people would appreciate it in immediate service because we don't really have a minimum charge. It's not like we say, okay, we'll pick up if you bought a patio set and a washing machine and a big screen TV at Sears. It's not next Tuesday. It's right now. We have radio dispatch trucks. It's right now, and if it only takes us an hour, it's only $59. So it's an immediate. It's a right now service. Just for busy lifestyles. And so when I created it, it really, it's just what I experienced in my own, my own life. Things that say, hey, time is money. I don't mind doing handy stuff around the house, but lugging patio sets and treadmills and all that stuff home, yeah, I would love to buy a stair climber at Walmart. It's a great deal for $199, but something, $199, that's the easy part, but it's lugging that 300-pound thing into my car, bringing it home, putting it together for 3 hours, and then trying to figure out what to do with those massive boxes that the garbage company will not take, and it's going to take me 2 weeks just to cut them apart to get them in my recycle bin. So that's kind of how I thought of the Jiffy Wagon concept, and so far so good. We've had some great reception to it. The website you created, Peter, the SEO is just a monster. It's working fantastic. Every time somebody calls Jiffy Wagon, I ask them, how'd you hear about us? And they tell you, even though we've got TV advertising going, billboards, media, we have print media, the number one way that folks are finding us is they say, hey, I just Googled you. I Googled hauling in the Coachella Valley or hauling in La Quinta or hauling in Palm Springs, and boom, they're finding. So the SEO is really working, so it's very, very thankful. All that hard work and then those long nights trying to figure out the best keywords, well, it worked. It's so far so good. Really happy with it.
So, Peter, it goes back to the keywords, right? Always the keyword.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. John bought the keywords, so to speak, and we analyzed everything. And then, as you can see, we've got them in links, and we've got all the right stuff going on. And John also has hired me to do some off-page SEO work, which we've had a couple of good runs and, 600 or 700 backlinks already.
Wow.
Plus, we're going to do this radio show, which I'm going to put over on his site for free, because I think it's good stuff. Assuming you'll let me do that for free, John.
You bet, absolutely. Free is good.
Freebie, right? Who rejects a freebie, right? Exactly.
That's right.
Free is good, right?
Everything that you've done, I tell you, Peter, it really has been great. I tell you, right now, here it is about 8 weeks since we've launched the site. If you put in the word Jiffy Wagon, and that's really what I'm trying to do is brand the name Jiffy Wagon, my billboards and my TV advertising, people see the logo and they recognize the name Jiffy Wagon. Now, if you type in Jiffy Wagon into the internet, and I don't care where you are in the world, I fill up the first 2 or 3 pages of Google. That's how powerful that SEO that you did. I dominate the first 3 pages of Google, so I'm very, very pleased with that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, now, tell me, you walked in the store and you had this horror story, not to name any names, but you've been trying to get a site done for how long?
Oh, yeah, well, prior to you putting that site in, if you recall, Peter, when I came to you, I was kind of, for lack of a better term, I was almost frantic because I was getting close to my grand opening. I went to 2 other web developers and put my deposit down, explained everything they needed, and guy number 1, well, he literally did nothing. Guy number 2, he threw something up as fast as he possibly could, which I could have done myself with, a website tonight, for $12. It gave me almost nothing, and then I tried to get him to correct it. So when I came to you, I was in frantic mode saying, I got to get a website built. I had been dealing with it for literally a couple months with 2 other web developers with nothing to show for it, after spending just flushing a couple $1,000 down the drain. So, yeah, when you took on my project, I said, okay, I said, pray to the dear Lord above. I hope this man does it. And 2 days later, my site was live. So I couldn't be any happier. I was very pleased. You were my savior for sure.
How did you like sitting back seat behind me and us kind of redesigning the site together? We'd get close and it's nice, but let's try this and let's try that. And
I tell you, that the way we put the site together, just exactly how I was like a parrot on your shoulder there, and I tell you, that in itself, I think, was one of the keys to making that site come out just the way I wanted. Because anytime any of us, when we open a business or we think of a concept, we have it in our mind, and in order to translate that into images or print, it's just hard to do via email and via you can electronically communicate with somebody the best you possibly can, but when it comes to something like that, sitting back seat with you, me looking over your shoulder and saying, let's do this, and meeting with you in person, I just don't think I could have ever got a site put together with you without doing that. And I think that's why, 2 days after you started the project, you went live. I mean, obviously we tweaked it a little bit, but, that could have never happened, with somebody that's 1,000 miles away trying to build a website for you. I think that was the magic right there.
Yeah. Now, John, what are you planning to do with this? Oh, by the way, Will, I don't mean to squeeze you out of the conversation here. I'm just excited. But,
no, I was going to ask you, Peter, is that the fastest turnaround that you've ever had to build a site? Because that sounds really fast to me.
Yeah, I think John and I blasted it, but he needed it because, as he says, he was frantic. He was trying to launch something as a CEO.
Right.
The last thing you should be worrying about is your website.
Yeah.
You're trying to launch a business.
Yeah, that should be a priority. Yeah, in the beginning, if the guy had done the work, previously. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So he was his back was up against the wall, and I of course kind of like that kind of stuff. Jump in there. Yeah, I'll do that.
Pressure. Yeah, on the time on the clock.
And off we went, and I mean. On the site, we worked on the site here a couple of weeks ago. You came out and got the pictures. I got these. I have this gorgeous camera. It just takes wonderful pictures. And up those went, and it just really, it really made the site pop. I think the pictures of the vans and stuff, pop. Nice stuff. But so, John, what's your intention with Jiffy Wagon? Where are you going to take this?
Well, Jiffy Wagon, as I mentioned in the past, Peter, my past 20 years, I was with a large corporation, and I helped to take the company from a family-owned business, a Southern California family-owned business, to a nationwide organization through franchising. I helped take it from, the startup phase when we didn't even know what a franchise, the owner of the company didn't even know what a franchise was, and the company is now the largest in their market, the largest in the market in the United States in their field. And we did that through franchising. So with Jiffy Wagon, I went to London and went to 3 weeks in London to franchise training, franchise construction training. And I was also mentored by a couple of the best franchise experts in the United States. There's a gentleman by the name of Austin Libby, who was the one that created the Jiffy Lube franchise, and then also another gent by the name of Larry Jordan. He's the one that created the Meineke muffler franchise with Sam Meineke. Wow. He also helped create the Mako paint and body franchise. So these gentlemen, they were my mentors. So franchising, I was in the claims business pretty much my whole life, but with this last 7 years prior to me opening Jiffy Wagon, I took this company and became a franchise. Well, that franchise, the franchise distribution, it was so exciting to me, and I was just every day I love to go to work. I said, I need to take a product or a service, and I want a franchise. So that's where Jiffy Wagon is going. I've started here in the Coachella Valley to create the model and to fine-tune it. And then once we get traction here in the Coachella Valley, and this will always be the flagship franchise, if you will, that when I have someone that wants to buy a Jiffy Wagon franchise, I'm going to have them come out for a discovery day. They can ride with me and my guys and, see what our operation is. Hopefully we'll get them into a franchise. So that's where we're going. Hopefully, I estimate in the next 5 years, Jiffy Wagon, you'll see on national TV, Jiffy Wagon franchisees all across the United States. So hopefully we'll be able to sell 1,000 to 1,500 franchises in the next 5 years.
Wow.
That's awesome. And I know it's too early to say kinds of numbers, but what do you think the bracket of a franchise would be for this? What price?
Well, the price turnkey with the franchise licensing fee and with all their setup equipment and their working capital for the first few months, their startup advertising and everything goes along with opening business, it'll pretty much be about a 40 to 50,000 turnkey franchise. So if somebody has 40 to 50,000 to invest, they'll be able to get into a Jiffy Wagon franchise. So we think it's going to be very successul.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable for a franchise. Will and I were talking earlier, but I mean, if you work, a lot of us are out of work here in America, right? This would be absolutely a stunning way to buy yourself a job, so to speak, right?
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. The number one reason that people buy franchises, and any franchise, I don't care if it's a McDonald's franchise or a Janet King franchise or a Taco Bell franchise, the number one reason why people have always bought franchises, they need a job. People have a little bit of savings and say, I need to buy a job. And with the Jiffy Wagon concept, and that's really how I developed it, it's a hands-on business for sure. But it's certainly a good cash-generating business. It's all cash. We don't sell products, so that's daily cash flow. Cash flow is king. And the way I designed it, it's for that for the potential franchisee, or I'll say the perfect candidate for a Jiffy Wagon franchise, is that out-of-work contractor or carpenter or plumber or auto mechanic that says, hey, I'm a handy guy, I'm mechanically inclined, I just can't get a job that's paying me the money that I need in my field. What franchise can I get into? I can be out in the field, I can still be involved in the business, and I can control. And if I had to run it by myself, I could. The labor costs, you don't have skilled labor. It's a very easy company to staff because with a little bit of training that you can take just about anybody and they can become an employee at Jiffy Wagon with a little training. So it's a business that a guy can get into or gal can get into $40,000-$50,000 and it's a business that will generate with a couple of vans. It'll generate $150,000. It will net them potentially $125,000 to $150,000 a year, and that's attractive for a business that you can get into for $40,000-$50,000. They can potentially generate a net income of $100K to $150,000, and then some. It's a good ratio.
Yeah, sure.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So, Will, have any questions?
Yeah,
about this
I mean, I would like Peter and I was saying before that there's so many franchises that are so much more expensive to dip into, John. And like you said, 40, 50 grand, that's not bad.
You bet. Yeah, I've analyzed. I've studied franchising. Like I said, I was in London for about a month. This was last year. Studying all different types of franchises, and you have some franchises in this world that are, there's no guarantee that you're going to be successful. You have a lot of franchises that literally the cash investment is anywhere from a minimum of $100,000 all the way up to $500,000, and at the end of the day, you have a lot of liability out there and a very thin margin for error, and that you have a lot of franchises out there have very high failure ratio because of, especially with the downturn in the economy this last year, seeing more franchises go bankrupt. The ones, the big, franchises that have a lot of employees or skilled labor or big overheads that require all new vehicles to be leased and equipment. Those franchises, they've had the toughest time in the last 5 years. In the last 110 years of franchising history, It's because the margins with a lot of businesses and industries, there's just not enough margin. I mean, for example, if you have a I'll use a generic name, an ABC hamburger stand franchise, you might spend $250,000 opening up that franchise, but in order to run that franchise, you need 30 part-timers, 15 full-timers, you've got workman's comp. You got to do a lot of volume with a franchise like that in order to see any profit. Bottom line, well, my franchise, Jiffy Wagon franchise, it's, hey, if the owner-operator is driving one of the trucks with one of the employees, that's just more money in his or her pocket, and it's a service business. It's all cash, low overhead. The probability for success is very, very high compared to the other franchisors. So that's why we feel it's going to be very successful. It's going to be a very appealing franchise.
Right. Well, and I know you guys are new, but I was thinking, what's sort of the weirdest thing you had to do, like a haul away, like anything weird or cool? You know?
You bet. Yeah. We had the biggest Greek statue.
Wow.
A gentleman bought a house in Palm Springs, and he said, "There's the biggest statue." It was the house was built in the 50s in Palm Springs, one of those old, very modern-esque, age houses built in the 50s in Old Town Palm, in the movie colony in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And there was a huge, like a statue of Aphrodite right in the middle of this courtyard. And he said, for God's sake, I don't know how they got it in or got it out of here, but all I know is I want it gone. So we went and looked at it, and we actually had to rent a crane. And he said, I said, well, we could bust it apart. And I said, we could bust it apart and take it out, through the courtyard, because they must have lifted it up over the court, put it in the courtyard with the crane. He said, no, I want to give it to my friend. He wants it, so protect it. So we actually had to rent a crane, a big crane, and lift it out and over the house, out of the courtyard, and put it on our trailer and transport. So so far, that's one of our oddest ones we've done.
The biggest, the oddest, the heaviest. That's great. Wow.
Yeah, a 1,000-pound statue of Aphrodite.
Wow.
I'll definitely say that's the oddest one so far. So, but we've had a real nice mix of business. All the way from folks saying, "Hey, I bought a used jacuzzi on Craigslist. Can you go pick it up and bring it to my house?" And to others, people saying, "I got this old jacuzzi and I just want it out of here. Could you get it out of here?" We had another guy last week say, "Hey, I bought a used refrigerator from a guy in classifieds over in La Quinta. I bought a new washer and dryer and big screen TV at Costco, and then I also bought a patio set and some chairs over at Sears. Can you follow me around to pick all this stuff up and then bring it all out to my house in Yucca Valley?" You bet. So that's the type of concierge service that we offer. It's just it's something that you can't buy. We're one-stop shopping,
Yeah,
So, and
it's
then
like
when
an
we get to the guy's
assistant.
house,
Right.
when we get to the guy's house on Yucca Valley, he said, "Can you install all this stuff?" And you bet, absolutely. So we really try to be a concierge for people, very reasonably priced as well.
That's awesome.
And you got some, most of the stuff, I think, if you think about somebody who's going to come pick up something and assemble it, you think about 10 guys in a truck and haul the stuff around. But you've really gone after the technology aspect of moving stuff, right? One guy and the right equipment.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. The equipment, traditional hauling guys, we've always, you can find some guy, you can look at Craigslist or the classifieds. I do hauling, and a couple of big guys with a truck can haul. But the difference with Jiffy Wagon, and it's not only to help the potential, when we go franchise, to help the franchise owner maximize the efficiency of each of his trucks and all of his people. The equipment, that's kind of a key with Jiffy Wagon. What we have in each of our vans and in our shop, not only do we have, we have just brute strength. If we need a couple of big guys to lift something, we can certainly do that. But we also have stair climbing dollies, electric stair climbing dollies. We used our stair climbing dolly just last week. We had a customer that had one of those old late 70s big screen box TVs that were 60-inch TVs that were huge that didn't come apart.
Yeah.
She had a little tiny apartment. She wanted to move it to a new apartment in Palm Springs, built in the 50s, a little tiny staircase. She said, can you get that big monster TV, that 400-pound TV up this little skinny flight of stairs into my new apartment? You bet. We put that on our stair climber, and me personally, without any assistance, I climbed it up there. And because she tried to have 4 of her neighbors help her get it up the stairs, 4 guys couldn't do it. Me and myself, I'm an old guy. I did it all by myself.
Wow.
So that's the difference with Jiffy Wagon. We have equipment. Not only do we, like I said, we've got brute strength when needed, but we have equipment that helps us move, haul, lift, transport items safely, quickly, because time is money, and we charge by the hour. We do it quickly and with no damage. Our stair climbing dollies. We have mini cranes on our trailers. We actually have a forklift. If somebody says, "Hey, I've got a 2,000-pound boulder in my backyard that I want moved to the other side of my backyard because I'm redoing my landscape," we'll bring our actual forklift out. We've got manual all-terrain forklifts. We've got crate dollies. We have a whole bunch of different types of equipment that help us pick up, haul, transport things safely, effectively, quickly, and with no damage. So that's kind of one of the keys to Jiffy Wagon, the franchise.
Yeah, that's why I was heading that direction because I'm old guy too, and I might want to buy a franchise, but I just can't haul stuff around anymore.
Yeah.
So I would manually pay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why that's why we designed a company like that, because I said anybody can own. You can get yourself a couple of trucks and say I do hauling, but it's a lot of physical exertion. Plus you need big guys working for you. And I said, how can I make that a little bit easier? There's always going to be those situations where you just have to use brute strength, but let's get as much equipment to do the work as we possibly can, because again, number one, it creates customer confidence. When you go out to a customer's house and they've got a 400-pound widget that they say, can you get this up a flight of stairs? Well, if you come out there with a couple of guys like the traditional movers, you go, okay, well, be careful. Versus Jiffy Wagon comes out, one guy in a truck, and they say, well, really, how are you going to get this up the stairs? Mm-hmm. Watch this.
Yeah.
We strap it to a $3,000 stair climbing dolly and push a button, and the thing climbs it, and they go, wow, that is incredible. And, the moving company, they wanted to charge me $170 for a minimum of 3 hours for them to do it, and I charged $59, and I never broke a sweat.
Yeah, I was just thinking, John, with a moving company, we've all had experiences where they try their best, but they might not be able to do it fast enough, or they have to get 6 more guys. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So that's kind of our thing at Jiffy Wagon. We have neat equipment that it's not only is it fun to watch in action, but it's it breeds client confidence that they say, some of these guys, they can move stuff that safely, effectively, that I didn't think anybody could even move for me. So it's so far so good. We've had great reception to all the toys and gadgets that we bring out to the job sites.
Yeah,
I really like. Now, are you going to offer some kind of leasing deal? I mean, you're going to get with a leasing company for a franchisee to lease the necessary equipment, or do they purchase it, or how would that work?
You bet. Well, as with any good franchise, a franchisor, and that's a part of being a franchisor. When you sell a franchise, you help them get into business and be more competitive than any of the competition. So I have found all these different pieces of equipment. I've identified the pieces. I've tested them and see what we need, what we don't. And yes, I found places where I can get this equipment for our future franchise owners at absolutely the best price. Now, when it comes to leasing and financing, yes, as a franchisor, we're going to do that. We're actually going to put together vans. We'll have brand new vans, used vans that are in good condition, already wrapped with the Jiffy Wagon, the logos, the wrap all done. Pre-built websites, which that's what you're going to do, Peter. If I sell a franchise in Las Vegas, Nevada, I want them to have their own local website, but also a link to our national website. We'll have those pre-built websites ready to go where, hey, that franchise owner, we're going to plug their website. It'll be as soon as they sign on the dotted line, their website will be up and live in their hometown. with vans and the equipment, yes, we're going to do financing, leasing, make it as easy as possible and as painless as possible, and as the least amount of cash outlay for franchisors so they can get in business right away and start turning a profit. So we're going to be very creative with getting folks into business.
Yeah.
And I know you never did a lot of the flag waving stuff, but I'm truly concerned about our country, and you certainly are offering an option to bring people back to work in a clean, safe, decent manner, and that's, I just can't overlook that. I'm sorry, that's a lot to be said for you to pioneer this and do this, because I believe it's going to help an awful lot of families across the United States.
Yeah, John, I have to echo what Peter said. I mean, as soon as I heard about this, I said it's a terrific idea and it will really help people. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's excellent.
Well, you bet. You hit it right on the head, guys. This is going to put that out of work tradesmen, or whether they're a tradesman or not, it's going to put those out of work folks who've been trying to get a job for the last 4 or 5 years, so that are either unemployed or underemployed. It's going to put them back to work, and it's a business. They can start generating the money that they were accustomed to right away. It's a needed service, and once the community knows about it, what we have to offer, as we've seen already, we've been in business for just 6 weeks now, and the reception has been great. It really, I think, is going to put a lot of people back to work. That's why I'm hoping that in the next few years we'll be able to sell probably 1,000 franchises. So it's going to put a lot of families back in the game. That's for sure.
Yep, there's a lot of families that need that kind of help for sure. And Will brought up a good point. We were discussing this, like it might have been last week, earlier this week, something like that. But he lives right outside New York City. Well, a lot of people live in New York City. They don't have cars.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I am.
You bet. In the major metropolitan areas, now this is, Jiffy Wagon, and I must admit, I created the concept and the idea, but I have to admit, I stole a little bit of the business model, if you will, when I was over in London. In Great Britain, if you've seen some of the townhomes and the apartments, they're packed together very tightly. These places that were built in the 1700 apartment buildings that were built in the 1700s to the 1800s, they're very congested. And there are services similar to Jiffy Wagon in the UK and throughout Europe and others. The concept, and I balanced it off there. It's not where I created the concept, but I identified that it's a very, because a lot of folks in Great Britain, they don't have cars, and they live in the city and in London, and even in France, there's similar businesses, and they have these services to help people buy a consumer product, get them up these tiny flights of stairs. They hoist things in windows because the staircases are too tiny to get a big entertainment center, and so it's actually a business, somewhat a similar business, and it's just cities like New York, any of the major cities, Los Angeles, New York, the downtown areas, it's very much needed because a lot of people don't drive.
Yeah.
They use public transportation. Say, I'd love to buy a treadmill. I'd love to buy this, that, or buy. I don't know how I'm going to get it home. Well, Jiffy Wagon we'll get it there quickly, efficiently, and very cost effective.
Yeah, you have to be very creative, John, when you're in this very congested area like us. Yeah, and you don't have a car. You got to, friends, family, whatever. Yeah. I know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we do. Believe it or not, we even have equipment that if we have to hoist something in through a window, we've got a mobile crane that we can take upstairs in an apartment building. I don't care. It's got a 300-foot cable. So even if it's a 30-story apartment building, we don't have any 30 stories at Pop Springs. But if we had to, we could literally hoist 1,000 pounds up 30 stories into a window. We have a mobile crane that we would set up in the house and anchor it, to the windowsill. We can actually pull something through a window. So I don't know if I'm going to ever use that piece of equipment, but hey, I saw it and I had to have it. So
that's awesome.
Very cool. The other thing that's a sneaker is that, you'll assemble stuff. So, I mean, you think about it, you buy a treadmill, somebody could deliver that treadmill, and here's the box. Have fun.
Yeah. Right. I'm still waiting to get mine. I couldn't put it together. Exactly. I know.
Yeah. If you don't have all the tools, like I've been frustrated because I took all my tools and put them where they're supposed to be. Now I can't find anything.
Right. Yeah, and it's just intimidating.
I tell you guys, assembly. The businesses that I've been in the past, I owned a paint and body shop at one time. I was a collision repair technician, and I owned a hot rod shop. I custom built cars, and I've always had a phenomenal set of tools and equipment in my garage, just as a weekend warrior. But I tell you, even myself, I recently had a new baby. And it's been a while. It's been about a 15-year gap since I had my last child. But for the baby shower, my wife, we got so many toys and this, that, and the other. Everything needs to be assembled now. And even with all my experience building cars, I could take a car apart in my garage, nut and bolt, and put it back together within the same weekend. I said, my God, all these toys, it is just so frustrating to assemble stuff. It takes so much time. And that was another big thing with Jiffy Wagon. We've been assembling a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think someone would bring to a company to have assembled. We've had people bring us strollers, say, so we open this up and there's 500. We bought this stroller off the internet. It was a great price. Well, the reason why it was a great price is you got to build it yourself. They didn't say that on the internet. This is a build it yourself. We had another gentleman in Palm Springs just 2 weeks ago. He said, I got this big outdoor jungle gym play set for my son with a fortress, big wooden play set. And he said, I tell you, I opened up the box. And I couldn't believe how many pieces. There's literally 1,000 pieces in a set of instructions that were written in hieroglyphics. I can't put this together, and I can't ship it back. I just we went out there and it was complicated, but we put the thing together for him, and his son was swinging in that thing 5 hours later. So he said it would have taken me. I would have never even been able to put it together. So, that's the service that we offer. And I think that piece of the business, the assembly, once consumers know that, wow, they assemble, hey, we'll assemble a toy. We'll assemble a toy. Well, and that's another thing. We're going to open Jiffy stores throughout the United States with our franchise owners where people can actually bring items in, even if it's a little toy or anything, a blender, there's everything needs to be assembled these days. They can swing it by one of our stores. We'll put it together for them while they wait. So that's an expansion piece of Jiffy Wagon in the future.
That's pretty cool. I hadn't heard about that. That's pretty cool.
Because you look at IKEA, I think they offer the service for their customers, but what if you don't, change your mind and you bring it home and then you don't want to do it? Yeah, whatever.
That's right. That's right. I wish there was an IKEA club. Well, we've already there's an IKEA in I think it's West Covina, which is about 100 miles away from us in Palm Springs. We've already had a client that says, I love this IKEA, this entertainment center, but first of all, I don't want to drive 100 miles away. Can you guys go pick it up and then take it back to your shop, assemble it, and bring it to me all assembled? So we did that. So it's a very versatile service we offer.
I mean, the most complex thing I've ever assembled was an entertainment center for the big old style TVs. It took me a whole weekend, and I was exhausted. I did it, but I was exhausted.
That's right, Will. And if you could have known there was a service that would come out and put that thing together for you in 4 hours or 3 hours for $150, you would have called them.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting. I think the thing I like doing business on the web is that you can get instant gratification. You can download something or, that kind of a thing. You don't think of instant gratification in the brick and mortar world, but that's about what you've got.
Yeah.
You're instantly gratified because, hey, this guy's going to pick it up and assemble it. I can go have a gin and tonic.
Yeah. It's almost like delivering a pizza, like ordering a pizza in a way. Yeah, that's like it.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Gratification.
You bet,
So,
and we're certainly catering to well, our society is we want instant gratification. You bet, just like a pizza, just like hey, you could get carpet installed the next day these days. If you say I want new carpeting, you can have new carpeting the next day, and we're certainly trying to cater to that. And so far, we've had a lot of clients say, hey, everything needs to be assembled these days, and I just want somebody I can call. You go pick it. We'll even go buy stuff for people. We had a client call us this last week or this last weekend. They said, "Here's what I want. These are the cabinets, the garage cabinets I want at Home Depot. Here's my credit card number. Just go buy them, put them together, and bring them to me already assembled. I don't want the box. Just bring them to me assembled." So we actually went out and bought them for this customer, put them together in our shop, and delivered them to them assembled. We even loaded up the shelves with all the stuff they wanted on it.
Wow.
So we make it easy. Instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's awesome.
The other aspect, not to keep hammering away at this, but we hadn't talked about the benefit of the elderly. As we starting to mature and get older, particularly if you're in assisted living, so to speak, or quasi-assisted living, you want something done. You used to be able to do it, but you can't now.
Yeah.
So
no, it's
this
true.
is a great,
You're right, Peter.
super great benefit for the rest homes, the elderly, and then expand that to the handicapped.
Yeah.
They can't do any of that, and so this is a great angle for them, I think.
You bet. I actually have one of the guys that works for me now. His name is Ed. He's 76 years old, and I tell you, Ed gives all of us inspiration because the man can outrun any one of us. He's what gives me hope because I know if I'm as in good a shape as he is at 76, I got another 30 good years to go. So, but Ed he's our marketing rep, and that's what he's doing. He's going around all the Del Webb communities and all the retirement. We've got a lot of retirement communities here in the desert, so he's going around all the retirement communities and saying, if you ever need anything, we're almost like a concierge. So we've got a lot of new business from that hitting all the elderly, the retirement communities, the assisted living facilities. So we've got a lot of great business from that. So yeah, we're getting good traction there.
That's awesome. And of course, you've hired the handicap. That's me. So you're all in there. You get all these good.
Well, I'm certainly an equal opportunity employer. My star employee is 76 years old, so we don't discriminate here.
Right. I was going to say, Peter, when you hear about Ed, right? Wow, you feel like a child again, right? 76. My God, that's awesome.
76.
And I tell you, the man, he's my handyman too. When people need installation, not only is he marketing for me, he's doing handyman work. That man can climb a ladder faster than I could when I was 20 years old. So he's quite inspiring. So he's gonna. I think he's gonna be our spokesperson.
Wow.
Yeah, the other thing that I like too, when I thought about it, is you go buy a washer and dryer. And Home Depot might deliver. By the way, Home Depot will not deliver out this far at the Salton Sea, so you're stuck. Yeah. Okay,
that's right.
But they deliver it. Okay, have a good time. When was the last time I installed one of those
the
things,
water
right?
hose, whatever. Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, the shoot's not quite right. I don't have quite the right tools, and it's an amazing service you're offering there, John, and just crazy good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. I hope that everyone else in America and around the world in the next 5 years agrees with you. So,
Peter and I really want to spread the word about it. Seriously, it's very exciting. Yeah,
that's good stuff. Well, so John and Will, why don't we let John go, and we'll continue our show here, looking at the site like we've been going to do.
That's good.
And thanks for coming on, John, and helping us understand Jiffy Wagon.
You got it, guys. I really appreciate it. Have
a great one, John. Take care.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.